أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. عباد الرحمن, I'm not going to stand up here and waste both my time and your time and give you a very soft, cuddly khutbah that's sugar-coated that you put in your back pocket until next Jumu'ah. I did not come all this way so I could give you something that you've already heard multiple times in a row. And it is from the statements of the Salaf themselves, where they would say it is the responsibility that the Imam when he goes and gives a khutbah, that he speaks about that which concerns the people directly. And this is why I want to start with a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he has mentioned, hadith al-Bukhari or Muslim, that the parable, the example of the believers with each other in their mercy with one another, in their affection with one another, and their compassion with one another, is like a body when one part of it aches, the entire body becomes sleepless. The entire body becomes sleepless. That when one part of the body is hurting, that the rest of the body takes that into account and treats it as if it's its own pain. And this is a hadith both in Bukhari and Muslim. And one of the biggest parts of the Prophet mentions in here is the rahmah. The rahmah that's between the Muslims with each other. The word rahmah in the Arabic language, it actually comes from, like I just mentioned, arham, wombs of the mothers. Rahim, this is in Arabic, the womb of a mother. And the parable of this, of mercy and the womb of a mother is what? In the womb of a mother, the baby feels safe, it feels protected, it feels covered, it feels that it has its need given to it. Everything is there for this baby that's within the womb of its mother. And this is the parable that Allah Azza has drawn for us between the rahmah and the wombs. That there is a higher sense of mercy, not just forgiving someone when they wrong you, but being there for them, protecting them, encompassing them. This is what mercy is like. بذلك حتى some of the ulama of hadith, any alim today who his chain of hadith goes back to Sufyan al-Thawri, the great Imam of Kufa, that it is a tradition from anyone who starts from this tabi'i learning hadith, the first hadith that they learn is to have mercy on those on earth and Allah will have mercy on you in the heavens. This is the first hadith that anyone who comes with this chain to Sufyan al-Thawri will have to learn, to show the vitalness, the critical need of a believer to have mercy with the people of the earth. Subhanallah, ya ikhwan, in this society where we grow up in America, we have been taught a very, very a disgusting disease of individualism. Everyone's out for themselves. Everyone's out for their own. And you have to worry about yourself before anyone else. They have made us, wallah adim, like pawns. When you look at a chessboard, you see a pawn. The most common piece. That when you play chess, you're able to do whatever you want with it. This, what we find an example, what they're teaching, not just us and giving us this lifestyle, is that you wake up, you go to your 9-to-5 job, you pay your taxes, you go home, you watch TV, you go to sleep. Over and over and over again. This is not the way a Muslim was supposed to live. A Muslim had honor. A Muslim had dignity. A Muslim had a bay'ah. He had an allegiance that he received from Adam to Nuh to Ibrahim to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He had an honor. He had a contract. He had an allegiance he made with Allah and His Messenger. Not to be just another ordinary robot. Not just to be someone who is a pawn in a chess piece. Because wallahi alim, as we learn the Ramadan, us being in this holy month, this month isn't for us to just have an iman high and khalas, you go back down to normal. All these actions we're doing, fasting, giving sadaqah, praying tarawih at night, qiyam after that, doing all of this during Ramadan is meant for what? For you to realize your potential. For you to realize what you could have done. What you're capable of doing as a Muslim, getting closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. It's not something that's just solely for Ramadan, but it's something to realize I'm able to do all of this during this month. I can surely do it outside of this month as well. فيا إخوان, we as Muslims, Allah Azza wa Jal named us ikhwa in the Quran. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً. In the Arabic language, there's a difference between ikhwan and ikhwa. Ikhwan can be used for someone who is someone who's from the same neighborhood, he's from the same country as you. He is a general brother to you. يسمون إخوان. These are brothers generally. It can be used like this. لكن إخوة can only be used for blood brothers. For people who are brothers by blood. People who grew up in the same roof together, ate the same food on the table, grew up together. This is what ikhwa meant. Allah says, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً. Not just that they're blood brothers, إِنَّمَا. This is what we call in Arabic hasr, meaning exclusivity. The Muslims are nothing. The believers are not anything to each other except blood brothers. Except blood brothers. This is the greatness, the unity Allah Azza wa Jalla has bestowed upon us. Now, ikhwan, unfortunately what we find is this brotherhood and this unity that Allah Azza wa Jalla and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam bestowed upon us. And this religion itself, that when we said Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, this was not just a declaration that would get us into Jannah. It is a declaration that we are telling Allah Azza wa Jal, we are informing Allah Azza wa Jal, labbaik, we are here for you, we are here to defend your faith. We have taken upon this covenant that was given to Nuh and Adam and Ibrahim before us. We have taken upon this covenant that if this religion is under attack, we will be frontliners to defend it. Now Islam, this religion of ours, that we gave the allegiance for, this religion of ours is under attack more than ever. In every shape of it. From what they teach kids at school and kindergarten and first grade and second grade and whatnot. What they teach kids in college campuses of philosophies and whatever you can find out there. Versus what you find going on in the battlefields. Wallahi, they're not out, I say this, sarahan, honestly, they're not out for oil, for resources, for gold, for whatever it is. They are out for your religion. The enemies of Islam and the shayateen of ins and jinn. They don't want these resources that are in our countries. They want what's in your hearts. They want you to leave your religion. For now a question is asked. What have I done to defend my religion? Am I a pawn for the kuffar, for the enemies of Islam? Or am I a knight for my Muslim brothers and sisters? Am I a warrior for them? And wallahi alim, Warriorship doesn't just mean that you have a sword in your hand and you go out there. Warriorship is having this compassion. Warriorship is using that which you're able to do. So we've been deceived saying that there's nothing we can do. Khalas, our brothers and sisters going through hardship and whatnot, all we can do is dua. There's much more you can do than dua. Because I promise you, if it was your own children out there, you would do much more than dua. You would do much more than dua. For ikhwan, there's something that I wanted to mention, which is, why do we find the front runners of the enemies of Islam, the Yahud and the LGBTQ and the rest of these movements, why do we find them so successful in what they want? That's a question you have to ask yourselves. Why are they so successful? They want something, they'll get it like that. Why is it, ya ikhwan? And Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he mentions a very important qa'idah, a principle, where he says, anytime that the disbelievers are victorious against the believers, it is for no reason except the Muslims are deficient in their iman. Not foreign policy, not politics, not how many kings we got, not how much tanks we got, the iman of the Muslims. For wallahi, there was not a single battle the Sahaba fought except they were lower than their enemies in number. Hatta in the battle against the Persians with Khalid ibn Walid as the general, the Muslims were 30,000 against 240,000 Persians. Not only were they outnumbered to such a great extent, but this was also the most sophisticated military they were going against at that time. But yeah, ikhwan, why do we find this happening? It's because of the iman of the Muslims. You find that these people and these camps and these groups are so passionate about what they're on. You go to a college university, you see someone who's outwardly LGBTQ+. You can tell that he is from this group from a mile away. By the way he talks, the way he dresses, the way he looks, the way he talks, the way he acts. You can tell from a mile away, it's his identity. Fully, this is who he is as a person. This is his passion. And he works day and night. These people work day and night to push their beliefs on others, to push their identity on others. They have more passion at the end of the day. And this is why the Prophet told us in the hadith in Musnad Ahmad. He told us in a hadith in Musnad Ahmad that there will come a time, the Muslims will be the most humiliated, the most disparaged people on earth. And the Sahaba, they asked, Ya Rasulullah, will it be because we'll be low in number? And it will be because we will be little in number. Is that why we'll be humiliated, Ya Rasulullah? He said, La. You will be kathir. You will be a lot in number. So I said, Ya Rasulullah, then why? If we're going to be a lot in number, why? He says, Inna Allah yadkhulu fi qulubikum al-wahn. That indeed Allah will enter within your hearts the wahn. قالوا ما وحن يا رسول الله? What is wahn ya Rasulullah? He said, حب الدنيا وكراهة الموت. The love of the dunya and the hatred of death. Meaning the hatred of getting closer to your Lord. هذا هو يا إخوان. This is not what I'm saying. This is not what I'm saying myself that got up here with a white thobe. This is the statements of Khatam al-Nabiyyin. This is the statement of the greatest human being to ever live. This is the one who is saying this statement. But ya ikhwan, this is why we understand that this dunya, as it treated Ibrahim by putting him up on the stake to be burned alive, Isa being hunted down, Nuh alayhi salam being tossed out by his own tribe and his own people, hatta his son wouldn't accept it, and the Prophet being, can I even explain what the Prophet went through? This is the dunya that treated them this way. So wallahi, as the ulama say, فَبَشِّرْ, glad tidings be to the one who leaves the dunya before it has left him. Which means what? That he takes the love of the dunya out of his heart. The dunya remains in his hand, meaning he uses it, but he doesn't have love for it in his heart. This is how a Muslim should have lived, because we were promised something much better after our death. But this is what we look for, ya ikhwan. This is what we look for. قُلُوا مَا تَسْمَعُونَ اسْتَغْفِرُوا لِي وَلَكُمْ فَاسْتَغْفِرُوهُ إِنَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلوات والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد. فيا إخوان, what is the point? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here after I've explained all of this? Khalas, the Muslims are on a weak point. It is upon the Muslims, as I mentioned in the hadith right in the beginning, to increase in compassion with one another, to have mercy with one another. SubhanAllah, one of the signs of the end times is that a Muslim would only give salam to the person he recognizes. As Muslim brothers and sisters, if you saw your brother, you're not going to ignore him, just say, I don't know who he is. No. You would give salam to him, you'd ask him how his day was, you would greet him. Something this small can make such a big difference. It brings the ummah back together. It brings unity back together by having simple kindness with your brothers, having simple mercy with your brothers. When your brothers are going through trials and tribulations, going through pains and sorrows, that you're there for them. That you're there for them. This is the mercy that, wallah, if it's established here amongst ourselves, then Allah will have mercy upon us as a whole. This is the key, ya ikhwan. This is the key. If you want these countries to come back in Muslim hands, it is by this. The Muslims come back together by mercy. Wallahi, and this cannot come except by sacrifice. The name of the masjid, wallahi, I was so proud when I saw the name of the masjid, Masjid Al Sahabah. Masjid Al Sahabah. Named after the greatest people after the Anbiya. When you look at the lives of the Sahaba, I only felt it's responsible for me now that I come into this masjid, named Masjid Al Sahabah, I need to speak about the Sahaba. And the sacrifice they had with their brothers and their religion. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, the greatest Sahabi to ever live, the greatest man to ever live after Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When the time of Hijrah came, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu went in his house and he was looking for something that was bothering his wife. He was looking for something in his house. His wife asks him, Ya Abu Bakr, you've already given everything to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You already gave everything to him. What are you looking for now? You know what Abu Bakr said? Abu Bakr said, he says, I left a needle on the wall over here. And I promised the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam I would have given him everything. So I won't let even this needle get away from me. Get away from this promise that I have made Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is subhanAllah, the sacrifice that came with this. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was of the wealthiest of the Sahaba. And every time he got it right back. 40,000 dinar, which is millions today. 40,000 dinar, Abu Bakr gave out and got it right back. And he did this over and over and over again. Look at Khalid ibn Walid, subhanAllah, someone like Khalid ibn Walid, Sayf min suyufillah, sword from the swords of Allah. This was a man that, subhanAllah, against the Romans, Khalid ibn Walid, he went out towards the outer camps to see if there were any Romans sneaking about. And he went out to see them. And he captured at that night 60 Roman soldiers. 60 Roman soldiers by himself at night. When he went back, the Muslims said, Ya Khalid, you are Amir. You can't just go out like this on your own. If something happens to you, what are we going to do? For Khalid said, have you not heard the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ? Have you not heard the statement of your companion, Rasulullah ﷺ? That the difference between the one who remembers Allah and the one who doesn't remember Allah is like the difference between the living and the dead. So what can 60,000 dead do to one man alive? This is subhanAllah, the level, the courage, the iman, the passion, the identity of a Muslim is right there in Khalid. And on his deathbed, he would say, he said, there's not a hand span on my body except there's a scar of an arrow or a sword. except there's a scar of an arrow or a sword from there. And here I am dying like a sick camel. Meaning they couldn't kill me out there. But now I'm here dying like a sick, let's just like an animal out there, sick. Then he said, may the eyes of cowards never sleep. SubhanAllah, the sacrifice that you find within the Sahaba, not just in battle, in even their own personal lives and the likes of this, leaving their families' homes. Mus'ab ibn Umayr, the golden boy of Mecca, with the best perfumes, with the best clothes. The moment he accepted Islam, his mother and father kicked him out and said, you're done, you're not our son anymore. Then he became so poor that when he died at Uhud, the covering for his body didn't cover the whole thing. If they covered the front part, the bottom half would show. If it was the bottom part, the front half would show. They didn't have enough cloth to cover him. This is Wallahi alim, the sacrifice of the Sahaba they come. But ya Ikhwan, as you've come earlier today towards the khutbah, you have found just by the door there's a table. It's a blue table called Life. And this is an organization that specifically works primarily in what's happening to our brothers and sisters in Gaza. I made a promise myself, ya Ikhwan. I made a promise myself. Last Ramadan, I heard a recording of an Imam in Gaza with the last loudspeaker in the masjid. After this point, every loudspeaker in the masjid was now gone. And in Witr, during the dua, the Imam said something that shook me to my bones. At that moment, I had to make a promise to Allah. I had to make a wa'ad to Allah. That the Imam went on loudspeaker during the dua and he says, Ya Ahl al-Islam, Ya Ahl al-Islam, innana nastaghithu bikum an tad'u rabbukum. O people of Islam, O people of Islam, indeed we seek rescue in you. Istighatha, pure rescue. To make dua to your Lord for us. Help us in any way you can. This Imam, not long after this, was killed in an airstrike. But this recording of his, you can still find. After this moment, I had to ask myself, subhanAllah, what have I done? What have I answered the call of my Muslim brother when he said, Ya Ahl al-Islam, Ya Muslim, Ya Akhui, my brother, the one who Allah named his brother, where are you? Where are you? I never thought, subhanAllah, I never thought I would see the day, even from the kuffar, let alone the Muslims, that Muslim little girls, no, older than 6 years old, are looking at the camera, not asking for water, for food, asking for death. Saying, Ya Allah, just take me away. Just take me. For I've lost my mother, my father, my brothers, my home. I don't know what I'm going to eat tonight. I don't know what I'm going to drink tonight. Where do I go from here? This, wallahi alim, I never thought I'd see. Imagine if this was your own children. If this was your own children. You know, me and you both know, if there was our own children, we would do a lot more. We would do a lot more for what we can. We would sacrifice a lot more. We live comfortably, ya ikhwan. Right now, we're in an air-conditioned masjid. And we drove here from our air-conditioned cars, from our air-conditioned homes, eating whatever we want. You want to walk away for iftar, and you can choose, I can have a chicken sandwich, I can have biryani, I can choose what I want to eat. Do you understand how much of a blessing this is? That the water you drink doesn't have toxins in it, poison in it. That, subhanAllah, these small things that we have taken for granted, our lives, even on Ramadan, that we live, some of us, we live luxuriously. Let's not kid ourselves, not lie to ourselves. We live luxuriously during Ramadan. Nice iftar banquets, all the one, iftar, whatever you want to name it. We live comfortably. They can't. Do we not have guilt in the smallest sense of it? The smallest sense of guilt? For wallahi, if it was your blood brother who didn't have something on his plate and was drinking poisonous water, you wouldn't be enjoying the way we are. We would sacrifice, ya ikhwan. We would sacrifice. We would do whatever we can, and we would look deep within our hearts. And subhanAllah, this is the blessing that this ummah was given, that the Christians and Jews weren't given before. The past nations of Musa and Isa were not given before. Which was what? That when you give for the sake of Allah, Allah will give you more. Allah will only give you more. Sadaqah does not decrease wealth. I didn't say this. The founder of this organization didn't say this. The Prophet ﷺ was the one who said this. Now, I know, as you might be thinking that, khalas, he's just another one of them. Just another one of those guys who just stands up and asks the people, khalas, طيب, take me, I'm another one of them. لا بس, I'm another one. Lakin, remember, when maut comes, حتى يأتيكم أحدكم الموت, once maut comes to one of you, death comes to one of you, what will you say? What is the first thing you'll say? ربي لولا أخرتني إلى أجل قريب فأصدق وأكون من الصالحين. Oh my Lord, delay me just a little bit. Ikhwan, my own father, died when I was a little boy. I don't remember him. I don't remember my father. I don't even remember his janazah. But I remember he was in his early 50s with wealth, with the wife, the kids, the cars, the house, with all of this. And I, at that point, realized all of that was left for us and for the government and for other people. And what is really left behind is what the Prophet told us. صدقة جارية علم ينفع به والولد يدعو له. That a ongoing charity, knowledge that benefits, and a child that continues to make dua. A child that continues to make dua. فيا إخوان, والله عظيم, I urge you all, subhanAllah, to have this level of defense, have this level of passion for your brothers and sisters. Come with that mercy that the Muslim body was supposed to have. Come with that which the Prophet ordered for us to have. When the President of the United States says that we'll wipe them all out and we'll build casinos and hotels up on there, do we not have any sense of anger? Any sense of, you know what? Not on my watch, not to my ummah, not to the brothers, not to the people who said La ilaha illallah with me. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to bestow mercy upon the Muslim ummah and to let us enter Jannah without any hisab, and to have mercy upon our brothers and sisters in Sudan and Gaza and Yemen and all throughout the Muslim world. We ask Allah Azza to enter our parents into Jannah without any judgments. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to open our hearts, to make Iman beautified in our hearts, and make kufr and ma'asi and sins hated within our hearts. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make the dead of the Muslim Ummah raise to the level of shuhada. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to rectify and to unite the Muslim Ummah upon rahmah and compassion once again. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to let Him be pleased with us when we approach Him on the day of judgment. Subhanallah bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in wa aqim as-salah.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله. استوى اعتدل وسد الخلل استوت راسه هذا بين مناكب الأقدام. Stow. Sheikh, should I use this one too or just this? Okay. Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم
غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل يا عبادي الذين أسرفوا على أنفسهم لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله، إن الله يغفر الذنوب جميعا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. وأنيبوا إلى ربكم وأسلموا له من قبل أن يأتيكم العذاب ثم لا تنصرون. واتبعوا أحسن ما أنزل إليكم من ربكم قبل أن يأتيكم العذاب بغتة وأنتم لا تشعرون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Brothers and sisters, really quickly, just before everyone leaves, as I mentioned before, at the table outside from our organization, Life is very distinct from a lot of other organizations because they have direct access into Gaza by permission of the governments of the surrounding areas. For a tent for the people of Gaza, for a whole family, is $500. We spend more on our Netflix accounts, on our subscriptions, and eating out. Really, I'm being honest, I can admit this myself. And to sponsor an orphan in Gaza, someone who's lost both father and mother, and Allahu A'lam what else he has lost. Sponsoring an orphan is $1,000. I want to hopefully get introduced to Texas hospitality here and see if we can make at least 10,000 within our mission here. This is 20 people donating 500. 20 people donating 500. Or 10 people doing 1,000. Splitting it, whatever it may be. But Wallahi Alim, I promise you, I'm not just saying this as someone speaking like this. You will never regret this that you will make. You'll never regret this decision you'll make. If you to go out and use this, and remember to give out for the sake of Allah. And one last thing I wanted to say, which is a statement of Ali, when he used to go to the graves. He used to go to the graves and he would say, Ya Ahl al-Qubur, Ya Ahl al-Diq wal-Wahda, Ya Ahl al-Dhulmat wal-Wahsha, Amma al-Diyar faqad sukinat, wa amma al-Amwal faqad qusimat, wa amma al-Nisa faqad nukihat. هذا الخبر ما عندنا فما خبر ما عندكم. They used to say, oh people, the graves, people of tightness and loneliness and solitude. As for your homes, other people took them. Your money, it's been divided. Your women, they've been married off. This is the news on our side. So what is the news on your side? If you want this safety in the grave, if you want this safety in the akhirah, look and donate from the Wallahi Adim, donate for the sake of Allah. And remember, this is you saying, I have taken the dunya out of my heart. I've taken it out of my heart and I've put it into what? Instead, I put the mercy of the believers in my heart instead. The love of Allah and the mercy in my heart instead. So I please, and again, I don't like doing the, who's up for $1,000, 500 stuff, because I believe it's best for people to do their ibadah privately. This is really what's in the heart, right? So I'll be outside. Again, we take all forms of payment, but let's reach this goal, inshallah. Let me have some good news from Texas hospitality, bidhnillah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khairan ya ikhwan. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.